Welcome to M Squared TechCast.
Hey, it's Mike Brennan.
I'm Rick Thompson.
And you're on M Squared TechCast, or you're watching it, either way. And Matt is out getting knee surgeries. He'll be out for about a month or so, and Rick is kindly enough agreed to be the guest host. And so he's ultimately familiar with our next guest, Michael Thue. He's calling in from Traverse City. I'm not sure what you were doing on Saturday night, nor do I need to know, or does the audience need to know. But let's talk a little bit about what you're up to, Michael. I know I saw something on Facebook where you're doing cloning? You're offering growers to test out some of your seeds for potency and various other things, right?
That's correct.
Can you give us a little more detail?
We, so with speaking and working with our hemp farms this year, we have done some breeding. We wanted to focus on making some genetics that were grown in Michigan, so they'll be more adapt to our climate because of being bred in our climate. So with that, we did a variety of some seed crosses this year. We used the Bayox male, which the Bayox has been the highest testing CBD, or one of the highest testing CBD strains in many of the states that have been growing hemp. So we got a long trusted source for that genetic with the first Colorado farmer to plant hemp. It's about 5 or 6 years ago, I think it's 6 years ago now. And so we worked with their seed stock to create our genetics here in Michigan. We used some of the medicinal genetics that we've been working with for a long time. We were able to get the cannatonic number 4, as well as the Perkins cannatonic, grown and certified as hemp under the Department of Agriculture this year. So we were able to take those medicinal strains that we've been working with for the last 9 years here in Michigan and cross them with the highest testing genetics that we have been able to come across from a very trusted source in Colorado. So what we're looking for and asking was for on the post that you messaged, and we have had an overwhelming response to that. I was just asking for 10 people to test 100 seeds that had the ability to plant 100 seeds and could give us some information by January 1st regarding the germination rate, the male to female ratios, and the planting technique of how they germinated the seed. And because right now there's only one company, I believe, in Colorado that you send them 100 seeds and they give you a report, that report is then used as what people are using to sell their genetics. Mm-hmm. So instead of sending one batch of 100 seeds to Colorado to have a company test them, I decided to reach out to the people I've been working with or that have been following me for these many years and offer this testing program for the end of the year to people that have already been part of what we've been doing.
Now, just to give some background to our listeners and our viewers, Michigan's hemp program just began in 2019 with a fresh round of crops. Approximately 600 growers were allowed to cultivate hemp in the state of Michigan. And many people that aren't familiar with the cannabis industry don't recognize the significant importance of the Perkins cut of the cannatonic. It's a highly sought particular strain of cannabis. In hemp, of course, has very narrow parameters it can live in. It has to be less than 0.3% THC, and the majority of it's CBD. So your THC to CBD ratio has to have a very high CBD content, and the Perkins cut delivers that. I visited a hemp farm this year, Michael, and it was a wonderful experience. But I noticed that a lot of our cultivators are growing a single strain cherry wine, and what you're trying to do is to enable some diversity in the hemp crop in Michigan going forward. Isn't that true?
Yeah, we're trying to incorporate these, high value medicinal crops that we've been able to cultivate in the past into the hemp industry. One thing that was really awesome to see on the renewal application for the hemp program this year as well is there was a box for us to check that if you intended to sell your crop into the MFLA. So Michigan is looking to follow Oregon's law as allowing under the testing, if we can pass all the testing requirements, to still bring that CBD crop into the regulated marijuana market. So that is something that is a really great advantage for farmers. And then we're offering, that diversity, because so many people are all growing the same crop. Cherry wine has had some good numbers. It grows well. But when the market is saturated with one type of crop, there's no diversity. And us being able to work with the cannatonic number 4 as well as the Perkins cannatonic has given our product something that really stands out, because we preserve those medicinal terpenes naturally, where most ethanol extractions or CO2 extractions don't preserve the terpene content as well as a hydrocarbon or liquid chromatography extraction. So that just continues to give us a diversity within the product that goes out through and carries on into each product that we make, because those terpenes then stay present, in each thing that we do. And it's something that is different from most of the companies out there.
That's been one of the key catches for the hemp industry, is to try and recreate some of the biopharmacological status of traditional cannabis cultivars in the confines of the hemp parameters with the 0.3 or less THC. Oftentimes people believe hemp is just going to result in seed stock, bast fiber stock, or long chain fiber stock in order to use for the textile industry. But producing something high CBD, low THC that's saleable as a flower alternative to the high THC market, that offers you an opportunity to market your goods that maybe wasn't originally envisioned by the hemp industry.
That's correct. Good analysis, Rick.
Let me ask you, getting back to your request for helpers, you said you wanted 10. How many have actually raised their hands?
Well over 50 so far.
So how do you call that down to 10? I mean, are you going to go by how experienced they are or what their background is?
It'll be limited some by the parameters and making sure that they can plant all 100 at once, making sure people had read through everything properly. But there's not a lot of parameters, so I probably will end up sending out a lot more than just the 10. So that gives us even better, feedback that we'll have that much more information come the first of the year for selling our seed stock. So if you're interested in getting seed stock in Michigan, we would appreciate you looking out to Great Lakes Hemp Supplements and GLH Foods. We really do take the focus of farmer first. We want to make sure that, that they get the best opportunity they have to get the value for their time and their crop. Some of the biomass contracts that we've seen this year have been getting kind of low. And I believe by giving us a crop diversity, something different to bring to market, and then something else that, we offer, we try to do a toll processing agreement with anyone that's doing our cultivars, so that way we can help them to process and bring that product to market as well. So we try to see and help our farmers, see everything through from seed to sale, as we are a vertically integrated company.
Two of the most important factors when purchasing seeds would be germination rate. How many of those seeds actually grow to be a plant, and the ratio of feminization, how many of them turn out to be male and how many turn out to be female. Because typically in hemp farms, if you don't want your crop to go to seed, you eliminate all the male plants. So if you have a seed stock that has predominantly great germination rate and predominantly female stock, that's a much more saleable product. And that's what you're really looking to do, Michael, is to establish some of these baseline parameters that other existent hemp stocks already have data for, in order to be able to better sell your product and diversify Michigan's hemp crop, right?
Yeah, and we want to do it with the most information as possible. So by giving away these free genetics, it creates followers for us, but it creates information of people that we can work with that are going to test these genetics throughout the season. So it won't be just our seed germination rate, and planting technique and male to female ratio. These are hopefully farmers that we'll be able to work with throughout the year, and even process their crops, come next year, hopefully.
Doing some marketing and
it's
some
building a
science.
relationship with farmers that, we've already been or have, been following our company online through social media platforms. So giving them the opportunity first to be a part of what we're doing, as, this last year and many years in the past, we've been traveling and speaking about hemp. So
can you turn on Jamie's microphone?
Yeah, Jamie Lowell has a question for you here, Michael.
Hey, Michael, I haven't looked into it completely, but there are some new federal guidelines that have recently come out. Does that do anything to improve conditions in Michigan? I think isn't one of the things a raising of the THC level that's allowed?
Proposed raise. Right.
So it didn't raise it. It gave this year an acceptable level for federally, if other states, because they're going off total THC. So Michigan went off total THC testing this year. So Michigan was ahead of the curve on that, which we normally are, and we've done really good about leading the industry in a lot of ways. That our Department of Agriculture, knew that. Like for somebody to not count THC in an acid form means you could grow a straight THC plant, turn it in a wet sample. There's only going to be a small amount of active THC. So it was them having to get past that, like doing total THC, making sure that the plant was completely decarboxylized and testing all of the vapor, not just the acid form, because of the conversion. So it's something that a lot of the talk has been watch your genetics for next year, or all these genetics people have been breeding in the past are no good. You gotta, everyone's going to be looking for their own new genetics. But here in Michigan, we already had that high standard held to us this year. So we already had to consider that in our breeding projects, in our end of the year testing before we were able to harvest our crops. So we've already passed that total THC of 0.3% is what that is. And I believe, so I haven't read that whole thing in its entirety yet. It's like 161 pages. But one of the big things that I've seen people writing about and giving feedback on is the seeds and the total THC content. And then, they mentioned it being able to go to 0.5. Like this year, they were going to give a lenience because there hasn't been any real rules. But then next year, anyone that would go above, I think it is above the 0.4 or 0.41. 0.5, did they raise it to? It's listed at 0.5. I'm not sure how they're doing that for next year. There was a certain point if it got above a certain percent. I guess there was actually mention of being charged with a cannabis crime for growing THC instead of CBD if it was over a certain percentage point as well.
That seems like unnecessary criminality. You can't oftentimes control that. Michael, how can people find out more about your project? I know we're in the last minute of our segment here.
All right. Following us on social media, Great Lakes Hemp Supplements, or the Center for Compassion, myself personally, emailing us, glhempsupplements@gmail.com if you have interest in the seeds or seed stock. We're also on Google. You can Google either one, Great Lakes Hemp Supplements. We have a location in Traverse City, 2366 Cass Road, Traverse City, Michigan, and the phone number is 231-620-1420. So I appreciate you guys letting me have some time on your show today.